Hey everyone, I just watched some movies and now I'm going to talk about them in this video, so let's just get right into it.
The first movie that I want to talk about is Send Help, the latest movie from Sam Raimi, the writer and director of the Evil Dead trilogy, the Spider Man trilogy, many other films as well. A director that I really enjoy. His style is very fun to watch, and you can tell he has fun making his movies. He doesn't shy away from getting a little silly sometimes, and I think it usually works. When this new movie was announced, his first original movie since Drag Me to Hell, I was immediately very excited for it, which is why it sucks that I was a little underwhelmed by Send Help. Going into the movie, I knew it would be almost 2 hours, which is a little long, but I wasn't prepared for just how long the movie would feel actually sitting through it. The first act goes by pretty quickly, the third act is a mostly satisfying payoff, but the middle of the movie just drags on for what feels like ages and gets very repetitive very fast. The movie follows the meek and awkward Linda Little as she and her asshole boss, Bradley Preston, are stranded on a deserted island. Linda Little is played by Rachel McAdams, who I think is really good in this movie, and Bradley Preston is played by Dylan O'Brien, who I think is fine. He's perfectly serviceable as a douchey executive who doesn't respect Linda but is completely helpless without her. I think the character's overall development is quite thin, mainly to focus on Linda, but seeing as we spend so much time with him, I'd like there to be more going on with this character beyond the brief glimpses that we get. The movie is at its best when you can tell that it's Sam Raimi behind the camera. I just wish that happened more often. Some scenes and line readings and shots felt like classic Raimi, but large chunks of the movie were just visually uninteresting. A lot of very basic, shot, reverse shot, some basic doubles, some mediums, couple wides here and there. It gets the job done. It's just not very exciting to look at. Also, the sound design in the movie was distractingly bad at several points. I actually saw this movie twice at two separate theaters because the first time I saw it, I thought, maybe these are just problems with the theater, but no, there are several moments in the movie where the audio sounds really hissy for whatever reason. My friend who I watched the movie with said that it sounded like a white noise machine in the background. And yeah, it is really, really distracting. There was also one shot in the movie that was at a higher frame rate for seemingly no reason. So yeah, this movie has some surprisingly amateur directing mistakes. I tend to not really put emphasis on a movie's plot, but for a movie like this, which is basically all about its plot, I would love if it was just tighter. It's easiest to compare this movie to Drag Me to Hell, which I think did a much better job of having a consistent tone and also maintaining its energy throughout the movie. And that movie was written by Sam Raimi. Maybe if Raimi had written this movie as well, it'd be on the same level or somewhat comparable. It's also not really as gory or violent as trailers make it seem like it's going to be, at least not until the end. There's a scene that I won't spoil it, where you think something really awful and grotesque is gonna happen, but they just cop out. Like that just really, really annoyed me. Like, dude, you're Sam Raimi. You're producing this movie yourself. No one's, neutering you. Just go all the way. Go the extra mile. Now, I don't want to make it seem like I completely hate this movie, so let me just give it some compliments real quick. I thought that the score from Danny Elfman was mostly pretty fun and light, and I felt like it fit during most scenes, and it didn't sound, stock or generic. Again, I'll say Rachel McAdams was really good in the film. I think she really sold me on her character, and she was completely down for whatever Sam Raimi had to throw at her. And yeah, I thought that the last third of the movie was very gratifying. That whole last scene with her and Dylan O'Brien, I thought that was what the whole movie was going to be. Overall, I did enjoy my experience watching Send Help, but there were a lot of things that bugged me that prevented me from enjoying it as much as I was hoping. And I think at the very least, if it had a tighter plot or a story and some better pacing, I probably would have enjoyed it more. I still recommend trying the movie out, giving it a watch. 6 out of 10, I guess. Another movie that I saw recently was The Moment, the first film from Aiden Zamiri, although I hesitate to say it's
from Aiden Zamiri since the movie is really the child of the pop star Charlie XCX. Now, look, I've been a massive Angel for many years now, but going into this movie, my expectations were very low. This movie seemed to be different in that regard, seeing as Charlie plays a semi fictional version of herself, and her performance is just kind of the problem with the entire movie. It doesn't commit. The movie is a mockumentary that serves as a sort of parody of concert films. In the movie, after Brat becomes the success that it is, and the whole Brat Summer thing and all of that, her management or label or something hires a director to make a concert film, but the director's vision is at odds with Charlie's own artistic identity. This movie attempts to make points about business minded people in an artistic creative industry who don't get why artists that are unique and creative, like Charlie, get popular and all they care about is profiting off of their creativity, but that whole theme doesn't really go anywhere. There are satirical jabs that the movie tries to take that are just dreadfully weak and just surface level, and there's just no depth whatsoever. The trailer promises a chaotic and intense sensory experience akin to like a Gaspar Noé movie or like an Uncut Gems kind of vibe. But the biggest sin of the movie is that it is just painfully fucking boring. There are just endless scenes of people talking about contracts, negotiations, and meaningless drivel that just never fucking pays off. There is a subplot with a brat credit card that's extremely undercooked. Like, they bring it up and it gets forgotten about until the last 20 to 30 minutes of the movie. Like, they set it up as if it's going to be a consistent running gag kind of thing throughout the movie, but it doesn't really go anywhere. None of the humor lands at all for me, which was made markedly worse by the fact that there was one woman in the screening that I went to that was laughing really hard at many of the jokes. So that made it like much worse for me because I didn't find anything in the movie funny. I did find the Anthony Fantano cameos funny. That was funny to me. There also aren't any really interesting performances in the movie. Alexander Skarsgård is fine, but he's a little too much. Like, the movie is not high energy enough for his performance to be as outrageous as it is. Like, even Alexander Skarsgård is not enough to save this movie. Watching the movie, it feels like Aiden Zamiri just has no grasp on the language of filmmaking. I honestly don't think he's ever seen a movie before. Watching this movie, I feel like Aiden Zamiri has never even seen a camera before, let alone just a movie. I feel like he's never seen an image in his life. And that would be absurd considering he's primarily a fashion photographer, it seems, which for any other movie could mean he would at least try to get some interestingly framed and composed shots. But this is a mockumentary style film, so it doesn't really allow for that. It results in a movie that has completely meaningless shots, and the only purpose that they serve is just to show us what is literally happening in the movie. This movie probably would have been better served if Gaspar Noé just directed it. You know, like him and Charlie are tight, I guess, and he definitely would have committed to creating a chaotic and intense atmosphere. And now it looks like Charlie is going to be doing a lot more acting. She's in the new Greg Araki movie. She's going to be in a Takashi Miike movie. We'll see how that pans out, I guess. But at least with the moment, I do not think this film does a good job at capturing or exploring Charlie's artistic oeuvre, especially considering the way that it ends. The movie is boring. The script feels like a first draft, just complete smattering of ideas that don't go anywhere. There is no conflict. The movie is visually uninteresting to look at. There aren't any good performances. You can listen to any number of Charlie songs and get a much more fulfilling artistic experience than watching this film. I do not recommend it unless you are a big fan of Charlie XCX, and even then, I'm not entirely sure that you'll enjoy it. 3 out of 10. The last movie I want to talk about is In the Bedroom from Todd Field. This is the first film from Todd Field after many years as an actor. He was in Eyes Wide Shut, and he also co created the concept of Big League Chew. What? Anyway, Todd Field came onto my radar as a director with Tar in 2022, my favorite film of that year, and he has a very small filmography. It's just these two films and Little Children, and he's supposedly not going to make another movie, but I guess we'll just have to see with that. In the Bedroom is a family drama, and I can't really talk about it as in depth as I would like to, since that would require spoiling it, and I want people to go into the movie as blind as they can be. But I think I can say that the movie is chiefly about grief and loss and tragedy hitting a New England family. The father is played by the late Tom Wilkinson, who gave dozens and dozens of performances. I've seen him in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but from what I can gather, this film is one of his greatest roles, and I would definitely have to agree with that. He got a nomination for Best Actor at that year's Oscars, which was definitely well deserved. It's important for his performance that the mother in the film is played by Sissy Spacek because they play off of each other so incredibly. From a story perspective, the film is quite straightforward, but the film really shows the strength of filmmaking as a medium for storytelling. It is simple, yes, but the execution of it is truly exceptional and moving and heartbreaking. Wilkinson and Spacek aren't the only good performers in the film. You have Marissa Tomei and William Mapother, but they truly make the movie what it is. They both deal with the loss that takes place in opposite ways, and the way the film explores the separate ways that they handle their grief is very rich and interesting, not just from an acting perspective, but also from a writing and visual perspective as well. And when the characters eventually end up clashing and arguing, their argument feels real. It doesn't feel overacted or overwritten. It's so authentic that you would watch the movie and think that they were an actual married couple going through this heartbreaking tragedy. There are so many understated and subtle moments in the performances. Like there's a lot of Sissy Spacek facial expressions that she gives that are really, really just fantastic. Just incredible stuff from the actors here, and it makes the movie more impactful as well emotionally. I also love the way the film doesn't invalidate either of their perspectives, even when Wilkinson's character goes over the edge in the third act. It makes for a very complex viewing experience, and I like films that don't hold my hand and tell me what I should think and feel about the character's actions. I can just watch the film and come to my own conclusions based on how the filmmaker is presenting it to me. Also, as a New Englander myself, not from Maine, but still from the area, I always appreciate a film that presents New England well, and this movie does that very beautifully. The setting in Maine looks gorgeous, and it looks like a real place with life and character, and it looks authentic. There are many films that are about the subject of grief and loss and tragedy, but I just love how Todd Field, with his first film, mind you, took a less is more approach to the subject matter that many other films wouldn't, and thus results in a film that doesn't feel very cheap or cynical. Even though it's a very, very sad movie, it's a movie that I really just want to watch again because I just appreciate so much about it. I just appreciate so many of the decisions that were made with this film that I just want to experience these sad, depressing emotions again and again. Like I said before, I don't want to talk too much about this film because I don't want to spoil anything. But if you are looking for a heart wrenching drama with phenomenal acting, phenomenal writing, really impactful moments, interesting shots, beautiful music as well. I really, really, really recommend this film. 9 out of 10 could even go up to a 10 on a rewatch. We'll have to see. I'll end up rewatching it at some point. That's going to do it for this video. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. Leave a like if you liked this video. If you agreed or disagreed with anything I said in this video, be sure to leave a comment if you feel so inclined, and I'll see you in the next one.